Hello, everyone. Over the last few episodes, we have been on a journey to understand what accountability means, how we can implement it in our organizations. We started with understanding what is the meaning of accountability, how is it different from responsibility, what are the kind of advantages that accrue to an organization which builds an accountability culture. In the last three episodes, in specific, we focused on Michael Tim's three-step framework to build accountability. We saw what it means to don't blame, what it means to reflect in the mirror as a leader, and how we can engineer solutions to build accountability. Having traversed all this journey, the next natural question that can come to the mind is that how do I ensure that this entire accountability thing is not just a one-off step, one-off action, but how can I create a culture of accountability in my team, in my organizations? Because as I look at it from my experience, I have seen many organizations which talk of cultivating accountability. Few of them actually take some steps to build accountability. But there are hardly any which are able to identify and create a culture in which accountability thrives. Today, I would like to explore with you a few basic steps that we as leaders can take to create a culture of sustainable accountability in our organizations. So today, I would like to share with you 5 simple practical steps to cultivate accountability in your organization. Steps which can allow us to move from frameworks to creating a culture. And the first among this is to make accountability visible. Accountability thrives in openness. And the question that will come to our mind is, how do I make accountability visible? Some simple actions like breaking the silos in which your teams operate, by creating dashboards where critical performance metrics are shared by people, where everyone can see them, by getting into daily huddles, both in a formal and informal manner, and by making sure that your structured performance reviews are not just focusing on what went right and what went wrong, but are also focusing on the processes, on the way your teams are approaching, on how you can find solutions to the challenges that you are facing. If you do all this, you're going to create a culture of visibility of accountability, and everybody would feel emboldened to move on that path. But what could be the next step that would prevent you from implementing it? Now remember, when we as leaders walk into a room, walk into a meeting with our teams, all the eyes are looking at us. So do you really as a leader walk the talk? Because what you encourage and reward as a leader, what you overlook and what you demonstrate sets the tone for your team to follow. You and your leadership team need to constantly keep checking that are we following the 3 steps of Michael Tim's accountability framework? Is our first reaction to blame the people? Do we reflect in the mirror to understand what we could have done better? And are we engineering solutions and not just staying with the problems? And remember, especially when the going gets tough, when there is a difficult situation, if you don't model these behaviors of cultivating accountability, your drive and initiative to create a culture of accountability is going to take a major hit. And the next important step to build culture of accountability is to ensure that your structures support a culture of accountability. We cannot just have accountability as a poster on the wall. We need to create systems that support it. Things like goal setting, performance appraisals, and reward mechanisms will have to be designed in such a way that individuals and teams get motivated to take ownership and accountability. You need to be asking questions like, do we support collaboration? Are we encouraging collaboration in our teams? Are we also measuring behaviors and not just the results? Because if your systems are designed in such a way that they punish risk taking, they punish bold initiatives of your teams, then you cannot build a culture of accountability. And if you want to continuously keep improving on the journey to create an accountability culture, it will be important that you develop feedback muscles in yourself as a leader and your teams in general. Your feedback mechanism should be a constructive loop where people are emboldened to speak up, share their thoughts without any fear. They stay candid and yet respectful. And as a leader, you should be striving to ask your teams in every interaction, seek their feedback, but remember to ask that one golden question: what can I do better to support you in your pursuit of goals? Lastly, it is very important that we encourage a culture of accountability. So we should be not only just celebrating the outcomes, but also celebrating ownership. If someone in your team steps up, speaks up, and goes beyond his role to accomplish a task, acknowledge it, reward it, even if you don't achieve the results. Because how you reinforce certain behaviors is how the culture of your organization is going to be shaped. And in the end, I would like to say that accountability is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not a one-off event, it's an habit. And you need to ask yourselves this question: what kind of accountability culture am I creating in my teams? And I want to just leave you with one thought. Do not just look at holding your people accountable, but instead create a culture that people want to be accountable. That is where magic is going to happen. And I'm going to see you next time with some more thoughts and ideas on accountability. Till then, bye bye, Jai Hind.